Welcome to It's a Simple Podcast, where we ask one simple question and have one simple drink. Across from me is Christina Downey, who is the head of marketing at the fastest growing low-carb pasta brand in the country. And to my immediate left is John Galeka, who has the premier marketing and branding agency in Chicago, Galeka Plus.
Glad to be here.
And I'm Brian Guadagno, the CEO of that same pasta brand. Cheers to whatever we're about to do. Lay this prompt on us.
All right. What's the most bullshitty metric that people keep driving to that really means nothing?
The most bullshitty metric.
Followers on social media. Bullshit.
Followers.
Views, followers.
Why followers?
Followers is a good one.
Yeah, talk to me more about that.
Well, there's multiple lenses at which I look at this from, but followers can easily be bought. And a lot of brands early on have bought followers, period. A lot of great brands that we know and love, I'm not going to call them out on this, but is a strategic imperative, have brought followers. Why? Because nobody checks them, because they look great, and because there's great power to the cell phone wall. And even more than that, like a lot of metrics in social are engineered by guys like us, right? From engagement to followers to
You can buy engagement.
likes. You can buy engagement just fine.
You think people are still doing that though?
Yes, more than ever.
Brands, you think, are doing that?
Yes.
Yes, I think
I know there are a lot-
influencers are doing it.
I know a
too.
lot of influencers are doing it, but do you think actually brands are doing it?
Yes.
I think a lot of brands in not
What
sure,
would be the value to a brand in doing that?
perception, like a young brand
Mhm.
who is, where we're at is a company and wants to look like a bigger brand, wants to almost like pufferfish himself. People aren't going to go check those followers. They're just going to go, wow, that brand has, 100,000 followers. They
And we'll
must
get
be doing well.
3% engagement because they're going to report on that metric.
I'll jump on that bandwagon. Real simple. And like the deeper why is I think there's an intellectual base and in real, brand advocates and people who give a shit that pay attention to that and run away from brands that do that. But I hate to say it because I've been the purist and I fought for the purity. And I've seen brands that do that I know and love and have like recovered from it and got the real followers win because of it.
So it was a stepping stone for them.
It was a step. Yes.
So there is some gamesmanship to it.
I mean, it's a marketing strategy. It's like making yourself look bigger than you are. It's like saying things a different way.
So then did you just contradict yourself? People are pursuing it, but it's helping them win.
I did. Because I fight hard with this.
So what, I don't know.
I hate that it works.
I'll give you one.
Yeah.
Purchase intent.
Purchase intent.
Oh my God. That metric has been around in every focus group, every survey since I've started, and that's been a while. What you go through, we're going to show you a concept. What's your likelihood to purchase? Meaningless. You're not at a store, you're not at any place, you're not on a budget at that point. It's just meaningless to say, hey, this concept got an 8 or 9 purchase interest. I've seen it rarely translate to actually anything in reality. It's not like, okay, now you're on a fixed budget. Your kids are screaming because they want the potato chips over here in the snap.
What about post-trial purchase intent? I've tried the product. Purchase
Same.
intent.
It's all qualitative, subjective. It's not as to anything real.
So in real life, in tangible reality, what people communicate, there's not correlation.
We are pretty good at being optimists, so, and depending on where you do focus groups, there are people who just don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. They know people are behind the glass. Yeah, I'd try it. I'd give it an 8. They'll never try it.
Yeah, but when it comes down to the moment and they've got their budget and I've got my grocery price, I'm not going to try it.
But is it representative of a larger population? Is it a leading indicator that more often than not, people who see it on shelf will be interested in it?
I've done this with some really big brands and have run concepts with super high purchase intent, and it's just flopped massively. It's just, to me, it's not.
And nothing
good.
changed. Not price point, not packaging, not product. Exact same thing that was measured, completely flopped with high purchase intent.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's a more bullshitty one to me.
Yeah,
There's other indicators within brand that I would go by before I go for purchase intent.
Yeah. I mean, to double down on the purchase intent thing, like I could engineer that across the board as a researcher. I can engineer person.
How do you engineer purchase intent?
Well, if I'm facilitating something, right, I can look at you and go, will you purchase this? And then if you say, well, or you waffle, I can say, but if it's on sale, and I can probe you with some things and kind of find a quick way to get you there and then use that.
Wouldn't that not be purchase intent though? Would that be aided purchase intent?
But that's not how it's recorded.
Do I have to report that as a large market researcher who I need to validate a product that I want more research?
But now you're speaking. So you're saying that purchase intent is not valid or it's bullshitty because of the integrity of the way that the surveys are done.
I'm not saying
it's actually.
Well, I guess my challenge is purchase intent. I haven't found a good peer way to identify real purchase intent.
So you're saying there's a problem with the way that it's measured?
I think so, yes.
It's always it's measured normally qualitatively, right? But if you do an in-market test, there's other ways to try to get at it that help. But I just don't think it's a.
What do you think? I feel like you're on the other end of the spectrum here.
No, I'm just asking questions because I can't really think of a bullshitty metric that people are pursuing right now.
Oh, really? Well, okay. Let's talk about some of the e-com ones. Are there any e-com ones that are like, you're like, yeah, but that really doesn't do it?
No, I hear you. Like, yeah, I think I agree. There are people who buy followers. I agree. There are people who buy engagement. I know that it does happen on the brand side, but today, I feel like it would be less prominent. But if you guys are saying that it's like folks are still doing it, then I believe you. I also think there are different ways to buy engagement, right? Like, if I were to run a campaign where the campaign metric or the conversion metric is likes on my page, is that me buying followers versus just outright going and buying empty followers?
Yeah.
Is it or is it not?
So you're measuring likes. How are you trying to obtain the likes?
If I'm putting spend and the conversion metric is likes, like right now we run conversion campaigns and the conversion metric is sales.
Right.
So unless it's a sale, we don't get the conversion. But if I run a campaign and the conversion metric is likes to my page or follows to my page, does that constitute buying followers?
No. Buying followers to me is literally using services to.
So I would agree, but I can also tell you that it's really like we could probably run a follower campaign and get followers for a couple cents a pop, and the engagement would also be comparably low. Like the outcome would be the same, but we're saying that's not buying followers.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider that as straight up.
Or can we adequately measure conversion or engagement? Maybe some of those people are seeing, they're just not engaging, and then they're buying the product in store. And we just can't measure it.
That's right. So there's a good question. If a tree falls, can you hear it? If you can't measure it, does it mean it's worthwhile? Right? Like if I can't measure something, doesn't mean I should or shouldn't do it, right? There's so much right now that all we want to do is put in things in place that we can measure and say, this is the outcome of that. It's very hard. There are other things out there that are really hard to measure for such, last touch, multi-touch, and they're putting values and it's really hard to get inside someone's mind and really understand. Like I may have scrolled past that like 20 times and then I saw it in store and went, oh yeah, I've seen that. I never engaged with it, never did anything, and I bought it. But you can't really, who's counting that? Who gets that? But I may have seen it there. And at the very end, a friend went, oh, by the way, I just had that last night. That was awesome because you're shopping in store with them. You're like, oh, okay, I'll try it.
Yeah. So then like back to our initial point, is that actually a bullshitty metric? Because people are doing it and it's working and it has a place.
Yeah. I mean, how did they measure if if advertising or marketing worked in the 50s?
I don't know. Tell me.
Ouch.
Whoa, I felt that one.
I need a drink on that.
That was meant more, you're a student of marketing.
Nice recovery.
I'm going to drink through this moment.
I heard that. I would say back in the day, because I'm 90 years old, you put something in, you didn't have something before, you put it in the marketplace. What did sales do? You're truly looking at like, did sales go up or down?
Yep.
And you're not like, and it was the full of it. I mean, yes, people are trying to start to parse things out at different points, but it was the full of it, right? And it wasn't immediate because things take a while for things to work. And if you're looking to say, like, I put this campaign in market and immediately I got this result, that's very performance related. Brand takes longer to build. So then that goes, and John knows I've had this debate with other people. Thank you, John. Performance over brand, right? What's driving? There are many pure performance media buyers who will say performance. I can see it. It's measurable. Brand's this wishy-washy thing.
But is it though, right? I mean, you can measure a brand along the journey, and you got me thinking.
We
right?
can now. There are ways to measure brand now.
Well, you could back then.
But back
in the day, we would have done like you would have had a traditional ANU.
But we would have went out, done that. We would have talked to people. We would have been doing stuff. And I think
there were ways to do it, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think I guess thinking about it more, right? There are metrics that are bullshitted, like followers and stuff like that. But I don't know if there's any bullshitty metrics. Okay. And I guess what I mean by that is the biggest mistake I've made, people make, is not at least trying to measure something and understand where you're at in your context along the journey. Sometimes it's bullshit. Yeah. Sometimes I'm going, all these things, there's sale over here. And I'm in digital media and I'm trying to measure this, collective touch, this ecosystem, how things interact. I'm weighting, I'm scoring, I'm doing various levels of attribution modeling to try to understand how to get there. And a lot of shit appears up, but the bullshit is like, I do respect the act of that. I do respect that people evolve their metrics across the board. When it becomes bullshit is when they stick to the same metrics and they don't evolve, if that makes sense. So the only bullshitty metrics are no metrics. And the only bullshitty metrics are metrics that don't change along the way.
Can I actually argue
Yeah.
I like what you're getting at there.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the bullshitty metrics are any metric in isolation.
Okay.
And as you're talking, I keep thinking of the cliche distribution growth versus velocity, and I think now, for the most part, people in consumer understand that velocity is what needs to be pursued. But velocity on an island, sure, it means something, but it's a metric that signifies a lot of different things at play. Like, do you have high velocity because you have one person in a store who really likes your product? Do you have high velocity because you have good penetration within a particular geography and there are a lot of people buying your item? Do you have good penetration because people are consuming your product with a high degree of frequency? So it's like a broken understanding of why something should turn at a higher clip. And I think if there's anything bullshitty, it's lumping a data point in isolation without really understanding what's driving it.
Yeah. And I do think a lot of people don't get to the why.
Yeah.
They just get to things. And I guess my point of view a little bit is there are some vanity metrics that are out there. Because I think that a lot of people don't understand some things. So they put these things in place either to puff themselves up, make themselves feel better, that aren't really driving the business. So, but then conversely, sometimes puffing yourself up helps you get distribution because a retailer may go, oh my God, look at all these followers. We should put them on shelf.
Sometimes in certain situations, those vanity metrics, if you will, make a lot of sense.
And sometimes they make a lot of sense. But then you have to start to look like, where are we over rotating and what would happen if you got rid of something? What would happen if we got rid of social?
That is it. Where do I use that data is the real question. Do I use those vanity metrics to make real business decisions that impact the lives and the operation of my product, or do I use those vanity metrics to sell in certain situations? So those metrics can matter contextually as well.
It's true. That's a really good point.
I mean, I love and I hate numbers because they're great. I can put a number here and there is a truth. Like math is true, period. But from this perspective, from the way I do math, right? Like as a computer person, it blew my mind and didn't. I was like, I'm so dumb. But I learned in my master's, right, that we mostly communicate in base 10 math and make decisions in base 10, but there's base 9, 8, 7, 6, 5 and binary, which computers operate. It's the same fucking math. It's the same truth, but from multiple perspectives, which, I said, is that a good or bad thing, right? Do I take what's true and use perspective in certain situations to get certain outcomes that better my business or better my thing? It's a little bit of a crazy talk, but that's, my perspective, right, on it.
I like that. I like.
What do you think of that craziness?
I think that's kind of cool.
I enjoyed listening to it.
Thank you.
It's saying why are you measuring that? What are the metrics and what are they being used for in a sense? Like some of the metrics are being used to help build sales stories. Some of the metrics are being used to help really drives business decisions. So it depends on what we're doing with what we're measuring and why. Is that what you're saying?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
What metric do you think we're not measuring or most people aren't looking at that they should be looking at?
In what business?
CPG. I'm going to keep you solid in CPG.
I mean, I think one of the most important things in CPG is repeat purchase. Are they coming back to buy more? And like, I'm like a confident marketer. I know I can sell you shit. I know I can get you to do my product. I know I can get you to try it, and I know I can get you to convert once.
Mm-hmm.
But are you converting 10, 12 times? And what measure of conversion? So I think that repeat buyers are one of the most important things to do.
Yeah.
And that's not your loyalist. That's your more functional buyer. Like, this is in my cart every week, every other week, whatever my shopping habits are across the board. That to me tells me the runway I have with my product. That's not the advocate who's buying, 10, buying the new things, talking about it. That is just a functional buyer. The functional repeat buyer to me is what separates a lasting brand from a pump brand or or something else in the market. Yeah.
And I think the failure in that is what drives a lot of growth at least within our business. Like what we try to understand why people are not repeating. And we have a lot of consumers that'll say, I really like your product, but here was a failure that didn't live up for me. And then it's on us. Can we improve upon our product or on our service or on the consumer experience that can give them, that can deliver what they were missing, such that, like similar to your Cracker Barrel experience, that can deliver the path to repeat, essentially. And sometimes you can't. Sometimes it doesn't, how many people for our product say that they don't like the texture? Yeah. There's not really much I can do about that. Like we've constantly improved upon the texture and we've got it really, really close. But for a 0 net carb pasta, you can't get it all the way there. It just is what it is.
Right.
But we can create a different, macronutrient profile pasta that hits on texture. And then the question is, where's
but should you? So you do that in an ideal, you engineer the magical product. Are they still they're gonna go, texture, but now it's too expensive across the board, or what's the next sort
There's
of?
always something.
Yeah, where's the next failure point? Yeah. And are you chasing it? Are you chasing consumer demand?
Correct.
Yeah.
Goes back to a little bit of that earlier conversation too, right? Like, should you chase that blind message or hold true to who you are and double down on it and
just say, this is what we are. This is what we're going to pursue. This is why. Yeah. And
people love that.
If the market's smaller because the price point is higher, so be it. Yeah. This is what we're offering.
But the market may eventually grow because, people see.
I also think there's a flight to quality too. Okay, here's a bullshitty metric. Price point. I think price point is a bullshitty metric that people hang too closely to. And I would love
people.
Consumers. I think consumers and pundits on consumer strategy focus too much on price point. I think price point is whatever value you can create within the product that you're offering relative to consumer perception and demand. And I think price point that exists on the shelf at large is really the only data point that folks have to go off of. So if you don't fall in that, there's opportunity to say this is too high or this is too low. I mean, you never say it's too low, but you'd say this is too high.
Yeah.
No, I've done the conversations of too low.
And the reality is that's really bullshit, because if you're creating something that's delivering real value, then consumers will pay for it, especially if it's a differentiated product.
100%. And I'll give a great example of that. You go to McDonald's, what's your view that the hamburger should cost? You go to Au Cheval, what's your view that the hamburger should cost?
There you go.
Right? They're both hamburgers.
Yeah.
Different ingredients, different experiences, and consumers know that. Like, so you can do it with a sandwich, right? You know, whether it's a Subway versus a Potbelly versus a Panera, we all have different versus a high end.
And here's what people forget is the people buying the Au Cheval hamburger are also shopping in grocery stores.
100%.
And there's enough of them to create a brand, material brand
That's right.
in grocery around that. And if you want that shopper and you want that incrementality, then you have to carry that item.
That's right. And I think people get really afraid on price. I really do. And I think it's a mistake.
Almost too afraid. And they don't, like, I think a lot of people are afraid to start as high as they should.
Yes.
100%.
And because to the bullshit data point, they'll look at the shelf set and say, here's the average price. We can't be, 25% above that.
This is why most people fail. I firmly believe most people fail by trying to optimize for price when they should be optimizing for value.
Yes. And
if you have a product that is differentiated and it truly costs more, then sell it for what it costs with a margin that makes sense for you to have a business. Because if you can't sell it for a margin that makes sense, then you don't have a business.
Then you don't have a business.
But I would say,
at least,
keep going.
I was just gonna say, just sell. It goes back to the authenticity conversation. Sell what you have, be where you're at,
be confident of it,
and be confident in it. Lean in, validate the position, and if there's a market there, it will generate itself. Like people will buy a product that's differentiated with value.
Yes.
Yeah. I was just going to say, even if it doesn't cost you more, if it costs you the same to manufacture, if your COGS are the same as the competition, but you provide a better experience, better packaging, something else, price it like that.
Yeah.
Like,
so my equation for value that I've used throughout my career is value equals, in parentheses, price plus quality times experience. The experience of that is a multiplier, whether, to your point, that's packaging, whether it's, if you're a restaurant, that's ambiance, whether it's what you're providing in other areas, like that is a force multiplier. Blech, a little bourbon. And we look at value in a lot of occasions as just being price. And that is incorrect way to look
Massive
at it.
mistake.
Massive mistake.
Massive mistake thinking value is price.
It is not. That's not what people mean when, hey, that's a good value. People will talk about buying an $80,000 vehicle and they'll be like, it was a really good value because they're not looking at it at price.
Yeah. Well, the value that they have, right, and we all know this, is the value when they can show off to their friends and neighbors. They can be the stud of the community. If I'm buying a CPG product, I can introduce a new hot pasta to the group. I've automatically made myself a leader because I'm bringing something forward that's new to this group. Like, that's value, and there's value to that, and there's value to the newness. That's why trendy things work for a while, and you can either continue to ride those. There's value to reductionism. There's value to additive process, right? But again, it's also communicating that value and, like you said, owning it. And bringing it in.
Yeah.
And not being
communication of the value is really important.
And not being afraid of it.
Yeah.
They're going to be, my competition is here. The consultants told me I could only go here. What's stopping you from starting here? You can always go, we're taught this in school, right? You can always go down in pricing, and you can't. It's very true.
Yeah.
Like
it's really hard to go up. It's much easier to start here. And
it takes me 2 years to go up and, a day to go down on price. So why not try it at least?
So who just said, fuck the value prop, I'm going to do something, and just went crazy and entered something different in the market, and people went, wait, what? I'll give a start.
Yeah, go ahead.
Liquid Death.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
Right? I'll give another one. Starbucks. But who did, how does Liquid Death, sell water guns and be able to sell a water gun?
Liquid Death subscription, if you go on their website, you actually need to sell your soul contractually to them to join their email list.
Yeah.
Everything is congruent. I think congruency is very important here.
Okay, keep going.
Well, if you look at their branding, it's when we were going through the development of our brand update, one of the things that I kept saying was I wanted congruency and I wanted depth. And I think Liquid Death is an absolute masterclass in doing this. literally everything about their brand, they're kind of owning death to an extraordinary, exaggerated degree.
Yeah.
And you can see it in the copy. You can see it in the way that they're, having people sign up for their email list. It's very clear on their can. It's clear in their message. It's clear in their advertising campaigns. It's all congruent. Everything is congruent.
Yeah.
And that's why they've had success.
Well, a controversial opinion, I would say Liquid Death owns joy.
Okay.
As a brand, right? And everything they do, you could see the fun they had creating it, right? And maybe it's because it's the creator in me, but their latest spots, right, from the small dick jokes with the cans to the Ozzy to their traditional work to diving into water, like they went into a business to have fun. And like everything they touch is like, whether it's riffing on death, whether it's connecting with people, and like people, I think they don't know how to say it, but they see that joy, right? And they see that like every day those guys get into a room and they fucking laugh their ass off and riff and make sex jokes and whatever jokes. I mean, I don't know, I'm not in the room, but they fucking like, as humans, have the most fun ever. And we get
that would be a fun room to be in.
Oh my God!
While they're crafting those campaigns.
Yeah, like they're living their lives, they're having fun, and we see like this much of the work, and it's awesome. I think it's because of that joy that they have.
But they've also created the rail, like the guardrails around which they're creating that fun. Like, I think the reason that they can lean into that fun is because they have created so much congruency in the brand.
They're brilliant marketers. They said, let's have fun around this. Let's have fun around this idea.
They knew who the brand was. They knew who they're going after, and they knew what they could do.
Yeah,
but it's so like,
and they just do it again and again and again and again.
Yeah.
And the content is honestly endless. It's limitless.
Yes.
Oh my God,
and the simplicity makes it fun.
Yeah.
It's death and water. And I can't
I think
tell you
I first
water
saw
is
them
good.
at a trade show in 2018, and they were barely a brand then, and they just had a coffin that they were sampling from. I was like, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, why not, right?
Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, so now, what brand should die?
What brand should die?
What brand you're like,
oof,
does not deserve to exist? I'm going to stay out of the pasta category for obvious reasons.
Okay, fair. All right, so if I said we're no longer going to measure frickin' tacos.
We're not going to measure tacos.
It's gone. Would it hurt you?
Or
conversion. How about this? I'm taking away
I really like tacos.
I like tacos.
Okay, I'm taking away CAC. You can't measure that because that cost for conversion is a stupid metric because it's a one-time thing that ad had to perform like that, but that conversion could have been happening 4 times later. Are you fine with that?
Totally fine with it.
CAC
because I don't want to be measured. Look, am I totally fine with it? No, I'm not totally fine with it. I would like to be aware of CAC. However, I would like to deprioritize CAC, and I would like to reprioritize brand optimization.
How are we?
I would like to reprioritize optimizing spend based on how hard it works for our brand and our awareness. Because for our brand, I think our biggest opportunity is maximizing awareness. It's not figuring out how cheaply we can win a new customer.
Okay, so what if I say I consider awareness another bullshitting metric? I'm just playing, just for fun. I'm aware of Lamborghini. Totally aware of it. So you've got me on that. It will never be in my consideration because I never can afford it. So if you're only measuring on awareness, you're not doing consideration. Awareness is kind of a bullshitty metric. Yeah.
But I think it depends on the company. It depends on the brand and what problems the brand has to convert customers or consumers.
So you're measuring brand awareness on
every
your target or your overall?
You're measuring, I think, specifically for our brand.
Okay.
Specifically for our brand,
awareness.
The opportunity is in awareness.
With who?
With our consumers, consumer awareness.
So with the people we've identified in target, not outside that.
No, I think with everybody. I think primarily with consumers in target.
Do you agree with that?
No, I think you need to understand your CAC. So
Ooh.
Wait, but that wasn't that was
Yeah.
she said you can't measure it anymore, flat out.
No, I said I'm not. I took that away.
Oh.
So now
You
we're
can't
talking
measure your
awareness.
customer acquisition costs.
So I'm asking you, do you agree with Brian that awareness is with the general pop or versus your target?
Who awareness is with your target.
Why?
Because going after the general pop is and again, looking at where am I coming at this from? Am I coming at this from a small challenger brand or from a large, known brand? If I'm coming this from a young, new challenger brand, awareness with my target is critical. And more than awareness with my target, it's first awareness. And then I need my biggest job with that early thing is to make them fall in love with me. What's the fastest way I can get them in love? And what does that mean, right? Well, it means obviously repeat purchase. It means measurable things like repeat purchase. It means talking about me. It means telling their friends about me. It means taking me to dinner parties. It means it's almost like a relationship.
It is.
But like that is really, really critical. And like one of the things, this is going back to me as an agency owner, but right, look, a really good creative of mine, I was thinking of this as you were talking, right? He said, John, our whole job as creatives, this is Jim Marcus, he's like, the whole job as creative is to make brands fall in love, right? Make customers fall in love with their brands, nothing else. That could mean repeat purchase. That could mean talking about, that could mean going to their store. That could mean wearing their shirts, like whatever kind of key metric you want in that world, just figure out what that is and do it and make them fall in love. And I've tried to take that to my personal business and focus on that. Just make, people we work with just love that we do it. It really works across the board. But I also have to understand on the
that's a good point.
side.
It's actually you can really hammer home your point with respect to like a marketing and media agency.
Yeah.
And the necessity to focus on like your core consumer as opposed to the broader population.
Yeah.
Who gives a shit if a roofer thinks that you do great work, because they're never going to hire you and they're not talking to anyone that you care about hiring or working with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
we don't have, and most brands, look, unless you're an Uber brand, you don't have the budgets to go after everyone, right? And so if people are aware of you, but they've already said, I will never try an alternate pasta. Why am I spending money on doing that, right? That's a waste.
You're like, hey, we're here. They're like, cool, glad you're here.
I'm aware of you. I will never consider you. So, it's like selling meat to a vegetarian. Why would you do that?
Yeah.
They could be aware of your brand, but they're never going to buy you. So,
but if they see other people converting, they see other people becoming vegetarians, they go, there's a big enough movement around here. I might try this. There's probably some good reason.
I used to like do the purchase journey more like dating. Like first you're on the app and you're swiping left and right on the brands, right? Oh, I'll try that one. No, and now you've got to have that first date. So you're just all the way to where they marry you. And very few, you don't get married to many brands. You don't get married to many.
It's actually not a bad app idea.
No.
Just like a
Brand
little Tinder like brand dating thing. Like, would you try this? No, yes. Actually, I don't know which way it is.
It's a new research company.
Been a while since I did that. Which way?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But that goes back to why is CAC important, right? And that acquisition piece, that how do I get somebody to swipe my brand? What are the...
Yeah, but I argue against it. I will
tell me you argue against what?
It.
Why?
Just CAC being super important, because to me it's a very performance measurement. It's not my heart.
It's a vanity metric.
It's a little.
Well, why can't it be your heart?
It's not, because it could have been, I saw this brand, I went to an event, I fell in love with them.
It's great for a distribution-led business. It's not good for a brand.
Yeah.
That's what I'll say.
CAC is a moment in time, and I think it's important. I think if I'm looking at performance media, I'm going to look at CAC, 100%.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at the overall, that's not necessarily, because I'm going to try to be playing the long game. It may cost me more to convert you, John, on this certain tactic, but I'm going to make you love me more
But a good
than that.
brand reduces the cost of CAC.
Here's what I said earlier. I don't care about optimizing for acquisition cost, but the reality is, if you optimize for acquisition costs in the near term, you're not optimizing for it in the long term, because the audience that you can target is only going to get smaller if you're optimizing for customer acquisition costs through performance media.
I agree with
But
that.
if you're optimizing for brand over time, your acquisition cost is going to go down because your brand resonance is stronger and your organic
Right.
repeat is going to
100.
So over the long term, your acquisition cost is going to be better or lower over time if you spend on brand versus if you spend on CAC.
Yes.
Amen.
Amen.
That-
I think that's where we end that.
That's the point.
Yeah. Brand trumps it.
Yeah.
Brand reduces
Or
CAC.
reduce.
And I think what I loved about what you said is it's about your lens on that number. Because early on, acquisition cost should be fucking crazy. But if I build my brand right, that's going to reduce my acquisition costs as I scale.
Right.
And I'm going to eventually win and make money.
Right.
I love that formula.
Right.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Solving world problems.
And that's as simple as it gets.